So today we're going to a place called Madresfield Court. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. It's near Malvern in Worcestershire. It's a beautiful looking old country house. So we're going to see what it's like. I'm not exactly sure which way they want us to go in today. Thank you. Okay, so we're approaching Madresfield Court now. So I've just parked up, and as you can see there's a lovely view of Malvern from just nearby the house. Okay, so I believe this is the stable block here. Currently having a bit of work done on it. So just past the stable block to your left, the court will come into view. There's a nice little reflection at the moment. The lovely Gothic sort of turret at the top. Then this leads you onto a drive into the park at the bottom. There are quite a few clipped yews around with irregular sort of shapes. And these iron gates lead into the park. As you can see, quite a few animals around, sheep and cows and stuff. So as you'll notice, this house is moated as well, which just sort of adds to the atmosphere and the sort of mystery style architecture of the house. And then if we go through this U arch here, straight in front there's quite a fetching statue and fountain there. And then the gorgeous court comes into view. Wow. That's quite impressive, that is. That really is. This house, it's still home to the Ligon family after around 600 years. And quite notably, it's never been bought or sold in its entire history. The current house, it's mostly a Victorian build, but the origins of the actual original house were from the 1500s, and it's Grade 1 listed. During the Second World War, in the event of a successful German invasion, there were actually emergency plans made to evacuate Princesses Elizabeth and Margaret to Madresfield, or Madrasfield. And in fact, there was actually a plan that the whole UK government would move to Worcestershire, with the royal family staying at Madrasfield. And that's according to documents released by the National Archives. Now, the house was actually extensively restored and rebuilt between 1866 and 1888 by Philip Charles Hardwick, which created the current Victorian sort of fantasy look. And apparently only 2 out of the 150 rooms were unaltered during that period. One of the most notable things about the house is the many examples of the work of the arts and crafts movement executed by contemporaries of William Morris. In particular, sort of the decoration of the chapel and the carvings in the library, they're considered to be some of the finest work carried out in that style. The gardens here are Grade 2 listed, and I'll be coming back to the gardens a bit later on after I've had my house tour. So there's a lot more to explore outside, but yeah, I'll be going inside shortly first before I can carry on with that. I believe this bit of lawn and the statues around here are called Caesar's Garden or Caesar's Lawn. That's just to the side of the house. Okay, so I've just come out of Madresfield Court of the tour, and we toured probably about 10 to 12 rooms, and it's pretty amazing in there, to be honest. There's a lot of architecture from different periods, and yeah. So that's where you enter on the tour. And this is the moat. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a little tour of the gardens and grounds and find all the little things of interest and whatnot. So yeah. So this area that we popped into earlier, this is called the Yew Garden for obvious reasons. Here we are at the statue of Mercury, not far from the house. It's a shame that the little water jets aren't working. They look like they're there at the bottom. There's a little inscription on the bottom. It's got C. Giddings, so that was by Charles Giddings by the looks of it. There's another statue at the bottom of it. And a couple of urns. It's a nice view into the park from the back of the Yew Garden. You can see one of the avenues down there in the centre. And cattle grazing and stuff. As we saw a bit earlier, the Yew Garden leads out onto what's known as Caesar's Lawn, where there's a selection of statues. Yeah. And it gives us another view onto this side of the house. There's a nice bench been placed there if you want to relax and have a nice look at the moat and the house. And this is round the back side of the house to where we was earlier. As you can see, there's a lot of rooms and stuff there that we wouldn't have toured earlier. The less formal rooms. And you can see that moat runs around the back as well. Apparently this bit here is where there used to be an old church, but the church was moved, and now there's a memorial to some of the family members from more recent times. And not far up from there, you've got this pretty neat avenue, which looks like it leads to some sort of summer house or a seat at the bottom, so we'll just go and check that out. Yeah, so these trees are poplar trees. So this avenue is called the Poplar Avenue, and this seat at the end is called the Temple Seat. Yeah, so this is the Temple Seat, and as you can see, it's fronted by 4 Tuscan columns, and it's just a nice place to relax. quite a few flies or wasps or something up there, so I'm getting out of it. If you just retrace your steps from the temple seat, you'll see the poplar avenues there, and it's like a meeting place of another avenue down there. So we'll now make our way down the Oak Avenue. Just off the side of the Oak Avenue there's a giant compost heap. And towards the bottom of the Oak Avenue there's this little walk which is it's labelled up as the Cherry Walk, so I'm going to assume that these are cherry trees. And then this will lead back to the bottom end of the Oak Avenue shortly. This is one of the more interesting features in their gardens. This is known as the Rock Garden. Now this rock garden, also known as the Rocks, was assembled around 1879, and what's quite interesting about it is it was constructed out of something called pulimite, which was basically artificial rockery consisting of sand, cement and clinker sculpted over rubble or crushed bricks to make it look like natural stones. We can actually have a little walk through here. So by making the stones synthetically, instead of just lumbering massive rocks here yourself, you could actually pretty much assemble whatever you wanted within reason. You can see at the top there's actually house bricks at the back. So you can see the clues all around if you look in the right places. And there's some kind of sculpture of a tiger on the top here. So yeah, you could sort of construct these in your 18th or 19th century garden and pretend that you were going into some kind of lost world or something. That was the general gist of it. It's quite an impressive one actually. Here's some of the rock, you can see it's sort of mixed here. And you can see some bricks in there. Nice bit of water feature added to it there. So yeah, quite an impressive little structure really. With a tiger peering over the top there. There's also quite a large wall garden down here. Don't think there's access to that at the moment. Okay, so we've come to the bottom of the Oak Avenue and seen the rock garden, and then just round the corner this evidently looks like the Cedar Avenue. Now this little feature here, which is quite nice, it's called the Lime Arbour. As you can see, you can walk through and it looks quite impressive. You can see it's still got the original sort of iron framing going along it, which would have given it the shape. Yes, that's a quite little, pleasant little walk along it. And that brings you back down towards the house then. There's a nice tennis court not far from the back of the house. Some of the statues on Caesar's lawn. Sort of Romanesque looking figures. You can see the parkland beyond. As you can see, the sun's decided to come out again, which is nice. This is the old stable block having some kind of renovation work on it. That's quite impressive.